Hi there, my name is Hogan, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to build and design your very own online store using Shopify. If you're feeling overwhelmed and you don't know where to start, don't worry. I'll go through everything that you need to know step by step. From choosing a theme, designing a store, adding in your products, going through the settings, to enabling payments and selling internationally using Shopify markets. I'll even show you how to set up your email marketing. This is the most up-to-date tutorial filmed just weeks after Shopify's latest updates, which includes some of the coolest new features like Generative AI, which makes building your store even easier and faster. You won't need to write a single line of code, and by the end of this video, you go from a beginner to an expert with everything you need to start selling online. And of course, the Shopify store that you'll be building will be mobile responsive, so it will look great on all devices. And as always, all the timestamps will be listed below with all the sections that we'll be covering in this video. So let's get started and get your store up and running today. To get started with this tutorial, you can use the referral link below this video. This is going to allow you to extend your free trial for an additional 3 months for just $1 per month. So make sure to use that link in the description below. So you can enter in your email here, and then click on Start Free Trial, set in your password, and then create Shopify account. We're going to create an online store. Click on Next. This is a new business. Click on Next. And I'm going to ship my own products. However, if you want to dropship or print on demand, you can select those, but you can decide later if you want to as well. Click on Next. Here it's asking you to choose the best plan for your Shopify store. Generally, I do recommend just the basic one to get started because you can upgrade anytime. So I'm going to click on Try Basic. However, if you want to continue with the free trial for 3 days, then you can skip and select I'll decide later. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Try Basic. And I'm going to go ahead and enter in my credit card details. After you've entered your details, click on Subscribe. Next, you can enter in your business address, or if you're working from home, you can enter in your home address. Click on Save. This is the dashboard for your Shopify store, also known as the back end of your website, where you can manage your orders, add in your products, as well as configure all the settings and change your themes. So we're going to click on Online Store here, and we want to check out the themes first. So by default, we have the Horizon theme, which is pre-installed and activated. Previously, it was the Dawn theme, but now I think everyone is currently going to be installed with the Horizon theme. So this one has the new generative AI features, which I think is really, really cool. They've also got on the top right here, this is Sidekick. So it's sort of like a ChatGPT, but specifically for your Shopify store. So if you need any help, then I recommend just asking it, just like how you would ask ChatGPT. So we're going to click on Close for that. We can scroll down over here and you can navigate to some other popular free themes as well. You can visit the theme store. There are free as well as paid themes. I recommend just getting started with the free ones. So previously it was the Dawn theme. Now this one is the one that we're going to be working with today. They've also got some other new ones as well, like this one here, and you can check them out and use them as well. We're going to use this one. So if you don't have this one installed, you can click into it. And then you can click on Try Theme, and that's going to install it into your theme library. And you want to make sure you activate it to ensure that it is your current theme. Right now, our store is password protected, but I do recommend just removing that because it's going to be a lot easier for us to preview our store while we're building it. So just remove that password, and we're going to go ahead and click on Customize, and we're going to allow the cookies. This is the front end of your Shopify store. To access the back end, you can click on this here to exit, and that goes back to the Shopify dashboard area. You can also click on the 3 dots to click on View to preview the website. And on the top here, you can also select the different pages that you want to edit, as well as you got access to Sidekick, and you've also got the mobile responsive settings, so you can check how it looks on mobile. On the left-hand side here is basically access to all the sections that is displayed here in the middle. So let's say, for example, you want to edit the hero section, which is this section here. Then you have all the settings here, and you can configure that. You can also click directly. Like, for example, you click on the header section, then you're going to be able to see the settings on the left-hand side as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to walk through how to build the entire front page, including adding in your products and moving down to the footer section. So we're going to be walking through everything that you need to know. Let's start from editing the top of your website. Let's click on the top, the header section one time. And as you can see here, we've got the logo. You can change the position to be left, center, or right-hand side. I think in the center is good. For the menu, same thing. You can change the position here. You can also add in another row. So for example, if you want your menu to be below your logo, for example, set like that, then you can do that as well. So we're going to just click back onto left and change it to top. So I think that looks quite nice. So we can scroll down here. You can also hide the search icon and change the position of that. For the localization, you can also enable this if you want to enable people to change their country and region on the top here. So we're going to select that and select that. You can also change the size. I think by default, it's good already, so we're not going to touch that. The appearance, we're going to leave that as default. For the sticky header, this is essentially when you're scrolling down. This is saying that, do you want your header to stick there? So as you can see, when we're scrolling down, it stays there. I think that's quite nice because it allows your visitors to click on the menu items, even if they're in the middle of the page. They don't have to scroll back up. So you can hide that if you want to as well, but we're going to leave it as default. You can change the color scheme of the header. So you can choose from one of these schemes. You can also edit the color scheme by clicking on the theme settings here as well. So for example, we want to change it to theme number 5. You can do that. You can also set it to be a transparent background. So I think that looks quite nice, a transparent background. Sometimes you may not want to select it because you have to choose an image which basically has enough contrast to display your menu items. But I think this one is quite nice. So we're going to leave it as that. You can also set a transparent background for your product pages as well as your collection pages. So once you're ready, we can click on save. Let's click on back over here one time. And for your header section, there's one more thing I want to show you. You can click on add section. And a very popular section is the announcement bar. So you can click on announcement bar. For the color scheme, we can change the color scheme to maybe a dark one as well. And then we can also click into that one time. And here you can change the text. So for example, you could do free shipping, worldwide orders over $100. And then you can also change the font as well. And I think that looks okay. So once you're ready, click on save. And then we can click on back over here. You can also hide it by clicking on the eye icon if you don't want to display that. But I think that looks quite nice. So one issue that we have right now is, as you can see, the announcement bar is actually below the header. What we want to do is we want to click on it one time and drag it above the header. So this is above the header, and I think that looks a lot nicer. If you want to configure the colors a little bit better, you can click on it and then click on the scheme, click on the theme settings. And then, for example, for the scheme 5, we can make it a little bit darker. Maybe let's set it to 222, like that. Hit on enter. And you can save that. So click on back over here. And we can navigate back to the sections. Click on back over here. Next, we can add our logo. So if you want to change your logo, click on your logo here one time. And this is going to take you here. So this is basically where you can hide the visibility and change the desktop padding of it. So change how much space is there. But we need to edit the logo in the theme settings. So you can click on theme settings and it's going to direct you to the theme settings here. So one below the sections tab. On the default logo, click on select. We can upload our logos. So you can drag it in here. I've uploaded 2 versions of my logo. So one is black, and I also have the inverse of black, which is white. Then we're going to select the black one and click on done. For the inverse logo, we're going to select, and it's going to be the light colored version. So the reason for this is sometimes the header is going to be darker, and therefore it's going to choose the inverse logo to display. Otherwise, it's not going to be visible using the default logo. The favicon is essentially the little icon on your tabs. So as you can see right now, we just have the Shopify icon. To add your own, we can click on select, and I'm going to select my favicon. So for your logos, if you haven't created your logos yet, you can also go to canva.com to create your logos. I'll leave the link in the description. Click on done. Once you're ready, we can click on save. So let's click onto the logo one more time, because as you can see, the logo is a little bit too big. So we can actually change that. So we're going to change the desktop height to maybe, let's try 32, or maybe a little bit smaller. Let's try 24. Okay, I think 24 is perfect. Once you're ready, click on save. Next, we're going to edit the hero section. So click into it one time, and on the left-hand side, we can edit it. So the link here is basically asking, do you want to link your whole hero image? So when people are clicking the image, it's going to link to a specific page. So generally, most of the time, I don't link that. I only link the button. So we're going to leave that empty. For the media, this is going to be a background. So you can either add an image or a video. So we can click on select, and I'm going to add my images to my Shopify store. And then I'm going to select my first image, click on done. So if you just want to have one image, then you can have one. But if you want to have two, then you can also add another one. So click on select. If you don't have any images yet, you can also use some of the free images. So you can also click on change and then click on the explore free images to use those first as a placeholder. Once you have new images, then you can add them in later. We can scroll down here. We can also change the layout of the sort of text and the heading here. So for example, like that. So I'm just going to keep it as vertical. And for the alignment, I'm going to align it to the center. For the position, so you can position the text and the button in the bottom section or in the middle. So let's say, for example, click on center. You won't notice the position change much unless you change the height of the image. For example, we can set it to large. And if we change the position to bottom, then you're going to notice that it's going to move to the bottom. So this is great if you have an image that basically perhaps it's blocking the text and you need to change the position. So this is when you would use it. So I'm going to change it to center. Scroll down to appearance. This is where you can add the overlay color. So if you want to make sure that the text is visible, we can add a overlay. We can add a little bit more opacity to that. It's a little bit darker, the background, as you can see, and that enhances the visibility of the text. We can also scroll down a bit to the blurred reflection. You can enable that if you wish. That adds a little bit of reflection to the image hero section. So maybe let's try 30%. You can also disable that. Scrolling down here to the padding, this is going to be the spacing for the bottom section here and also the top. We can add a little bit of padding to the bottom like that, and that gives a much more balanced hero section. Once you're happy with the hero section, we can click on save. So next we're going to edit the text in here. To edit that, you can click on it one time, and here we can change the text. So it can be new arrivals, shop collection, whatever you want. And then you can also change the sort of the typography as well. For example, the different sizes, as well as the padding. But I think everything looks great. Here we can also edit the button. So where do you want this button to link to? So click on the button one time, and you can change the label, but I think Shop Now is good. For the link, so you can link it to a specific collection, which I'll show you guys how to create, as well as linking it to specific products or pages. But right now it's actually linked to all products. So I'm going to keep that as is. To change the style of it, so for example, if you want to change the color, you can select the primary style or the secondary style. Okay, so the secondary one is a little bit of a transparent look, but we can also select the primary one, which is a solid color. Let's click on back over here, and you can also add maybe like a subheading below the heading. So for example, let's say here we want to add just below the heading, add a block, and then we can click on text, and you can add some text here as well. Okay, so once you're happy with that, then we can click on save. Another very popular style is a slideshow hero section. So to do that, you can add section. So click on the add section on the left-hand side here. We can scroll down to the storytelling tab here and then click on slideshow. So this is going to create like a hero slideshow section, and you can basically use this one instead of what we have here. So for example, we can click into the slideshow and then you can select your image. For example, this one here, done. And then let's select the next slide. So let's click on the slide here. And then for example, we want to change this image, change it to this one here, click on done. And then we can click on back over here. So obviously you can edit all the text and the buttons. So we can click on the slideshow and we can drag it up, maybe above the hero, like that. Then the slideshow is going to show on the top. And since we have a slideshow hero section already, we can hide the other one. Okay, so this way you can have a slideshow instead of the split one. So I'm actually going to hide the slideshow and I'm going to display my original hero image just by enabling the eye icon here. So once you're ready, just click on save, and then we're going to move on to the next section, which is your products section. Before we can display our products on our homepage or anywhere else, we do need to add our products in Shopify. So what we can do is we can click on exit, but I generally like to right click and open the link in a new tab. That way, when I add the products, then I can see how it actually appears in this page here. So let's click into our dashboard section. To add your products, click on products and then click on add product. So we are basically adding our own product. So we are fulfilling this product ourselves. So we're going to give a title to our product. Let's label this one Midnight Muse. Here we can enter in a description. You can also click on generate text. So you can put in a few features and keywords about your product that you're selling. And you can use the AI feature to help you generate a description. So I actually prepared one earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that in here. You can also use the formatting options, just like a word editor. So make sure you format it nicely and we can select it here. We can also add the dot points. So let's choose the bulleted list here like that. And I think that's good to go. Next, we're going to upload our product images. So we're going to click on upload new and we're going to select our product images. So let's rearrange our images. We can click on the plus to display all the images. Let's click on this one and we can move it to the first one here. This is going to be our featured image. So this is going to display as your first image here. And as you can see, you can also add a product video as well. So I'm going to rearrange my images like this. So if you're happy with that, we can scroll down and set in the price. So we can set in the price here, maybe $1.99. The compare at price is basically the price that they cross out. So maybe previously this was $2.99 and this is currently the price here. So we're going to select and charge tax on the product. Here is the cost per item. So how much does it cost for you to purchase from your supplier and ship to your warehouse? Let's just say, for example, $50. And here we have the profit and the margin. So this is great if later on when you want to calculate how much profit you are making. You can also use the sidekick feature to ask it, how much profit did I make for last month or this month? And just ask it like how you talk to ChatGPT. And it's really useful. Click on close here. We can track quantity. So I recommend that, as well as scroll down over here. For the shipping, you want to enter in the shipping weight. So how much does the product and the product packaging weigh? So let's just say 300 grams or 0.3 kilograms. For the customs information, if you want to sell internationally, this is very important to select the country of origin as well as the HS code. The HS code is basically the harmonized system code, and it's an international trade code, usually 6 digits long or longer, that's used to describe what product it is. It basically helps the customs authorities identify what product it is and apply the correct tariffs, duties, and taxes on your products. So if you want to have variants, so if it's like a variable product, let's click on add options. And they do have some recommended options already. However, you can create a custom option. In this case, I'm going to create a color variation, and it's actually pulled the color directly from the pictures that I've uploaded here. So as you can see, we had the yellow, the brown one, the black one, and we also have like a leopard kind of pattern one. So we have 3 here, but I want to add another option. So let's click on add another option, and actually let's click into here. So the other color, let's say it's a leopard pattern, and I just want to add that in. So here we're going to select an image, and I've actually downloaded this leopard print pattern just from Google. So we're going to upload this image, then click on done. And I'm also going to select the base color. So the base color is maybe going to be more of a brown, okay, because I have the image. Then click on save. So as you can see, for the leopard color variation, it has the leopard pattern on it. Let's click on done, and we can scroll down. So here we can edit the individual variants. So you want to add the specific image that relates to the variation. So for example, plus, and then we want to upload, let's say this is the yellow one. Then we've also got maybe the brown one. Then we have the black one. And we also have the leopard pattern one here. Click on done. You can also adjust the price individually if you want to do that. Here we want to set the inventory levels. So let's say, for example, we have 20 of each. Let's scroll down. And this is where you can edit the search engine listing. So essentially, what does the search engine listing look like on Google? So you can click on edit, and you can edit the page title as well as the meta description and the URL. So we're going to leave that as is for now, and then click on save. All right, congratulations, we have added in our first product. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add another product and a few more products. So that way, when we edit our website, we have more products that we can work with, because what we're going to do is also create collections. So collections is sort of like different categories. This is important to basically organize your products on your homepage or on any other page, and even your menu sections. So to add another product, you can click on add another product here, or you can navigate back to products here and then click on add product. I've added a few more products. So the next step is to click on collections, and we're going to create several collections. Collections basically help organize your store, and it also makes browsing easier and less overwhelming for your customers. By default, to have a homepage collection, I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to delete this one. And I'm going to create some new collections. Click on create collection. And the first collection is men's collection. And here we can add a brief description. You can also set in an image. Select the image, click on done. We can scroll down, click on browse, and select the products that you want to include for the men's collection. So I'm just going to choose 4 products, click on add, then I'm going to save. So this is our first collection. I'm also going to create a few more. Click on create another collection. And then this one is going to be women's collection. Add an image, select it, then click on done. Scroll down, click on browse, and select 4 products here. Click on add and save. Then I'm also going to add just 2 more collections, a bestseller collection as well as a new arrivals. So I'm going to quickly go ahead and create those. So I've added 4 collections. Now we can head back to our homepage, and let's click on refresh. Now I'm going to show you guys how to display your products on your homepage. Once you've added in your products should display on your homepage if you have the product list module in this section here. So what can you do to edit it? Let's say, for example, you have this deleted, the product list for some reason. You can click on add section, and then you can search for product. And here we can select from different ways that you can add and display your products. So this one here is just a product list grid. So to edit this part, you can click into it. And here we can select the collection. This is why it's important to create your collections beforehand. Click here, click on replace, and select your collections. So for example, the new arrivals. And you can also select the product count. So I just want to show 4 products. And this is the number of columns. We have 4 columns here, but you can reduce it or you can increase it. And for the columns on mobile, do you want to have your products in just 1 column or 2 columns? So you can click on the mobile view. I think that looks good. Click back onto the desktop. Here we can adjust the spacing. Scrolling down here, again, this is the spacing and the color scheme. We're going to leave that as defaults. I think that is good. Now, one thing that I do want to edit is not the actual section itself. I want to edit the media. So you want to click into the media like that one time. So if you actually click back over here, you see that you have the product list, and then in there you have the product card, and this is the media. And we can also click on this. So we can click on media, and here I want to adjust it. I want to adjust the aspect ratio to auto. Okay, as you can see, that looks a little bit more proportional and nicer. You're also able to adjust the borders, but we're going to leave everything as default. Click on back here. Then you can click on the arrow here. And as you can see, you can also edit the product title. So you're able to change the appearance as well as the price. Do you want to hide the price as well? So you can also hide it. And you can also hide the swatches, so the variation swatches like that. And you can also hide the product title. So there is quite a lot of customizations that you're able to do. You can also add additional. So click on add block. This is going to be under the group add block. And you'll be able to add maybe review stars if you want to showcase the reviews of the products. For example, let's click into that. Because we don't have any reviews yet, then it's not going to show. But if you want it to maybe move it up, maybe just below the title, you can do that. Or maybe let's do it after the price. So when you do have reviews, it's going to display in between the price and the swatches. Once you are happy with it, we can click on save. All right, so we're ready to build out the rest of our homepage. The first section that I want to show you guys how to create is how to display your collections or your categories. This is one of the most common things that top websites have on their homepage because it allows them to link to their products or their collections and allows your customers to easily browse your website. So here, as you can see on Nike's website, we have collections for the players. On Louis Vuitton, we have collections for different types of products. For example, you got bags, then you got shoes and perfumes. On shoes, we have different categories, for example, shoes, apparel, and accessories. So let's recreate this on our own website. Let's click on Add Section. We want to scroll down to the Collections title here, and then we're going to select Collection List Grid. Then here, we can click into Collection List, or you can also click in the white background here. Click it once. Then for your collections, we can select it. So earlier I showed you guys how to create your collections. So if you don't have any yet, then you want to make sure you do go back to the video and create that. Click on select, and then here we can select the collections that we want to display. For example, men's and women's category. Then you can also display a third one, for example, maybe new arrivals. But I'm just going to keep it as 2. Click on select to save. So as you can see, there's some spacing on the right hand side. We want to adjust the columns to 2. And that's going to disappear. For the mobile columns, you can click on the mobile display. I think it's nicer to adjust it to just 1 column. And you can also play around with the different sort of padding, also known as the spacing. Click back onto the desktop display. And there you go. So that's one section that we have added onto our homepage. You can also adjust the collection title. So perhaps if you want to adjust the size, the font, you can do that too. So for example, change it to heading 4. And if you're happy with that, then we can click on save. Another way you can display your collections or your products is adding the split showcase. I just want to show you guys an example so you can see how it can be done. So we're going to create a new section and we can click on split showcase. So this is one of the banners. Then over here, we can link these sections to specific categories or collections, sorry, or you can link it to specific products or even pages. So you can click into it one time and this is going to link the actual picture. So you can click on it. Let's, for example, link it to our new arrivals. And then we also want to link this one. So click on it one time and link it to our bestsellers. But as you can see, you can link it to a specific product or a page or a blog post. So there's a lot of flexibility. So let's click back into the first image. And as you can see, the image didn't change. You want to scroll down to the appearance. Then for the image, you can either select none, image, or a video. But we're going to go ahead and upload an image. And then we can select the image that we want to display. Done. Same thing for the right-hand side image over here. Click on done. So one thing that I do want to edit about this image is, as you can see, the text is white. I do want to add a background overlay. So you can click on the image once. Below here, we can scroll down to the background overlay and we can enable that. You can also adjust the overlay by clicking into it and adjusting the opacity to make it darker or lighter, but I think that's good. And same thing for the right-hand side. And the other thing that you want to do is you want to click into the button. So you want to make sure you link it to the same product or collection. So you can change the label, shop now, I think that's okay. For the link, you want to link it to the same collection. So this one is the new arrivals. And for the style, you can change it to be a button as well, like a primary button. But I think a link is okay. And then same thing here, click on the button here. Then we want to change it to that specific collection as well. And then once you're ready, we can click on save. So this is just another way that you can display your collections or your products on your homepage. The other thing I want to show you quickly is just in case you wanted to add a heading for it, for example, shop by collection, and you can actually click into that to change the title. But with this one here, we don't actually have the option to do that. So you can click on back, and what you'll need to do is you need to add a section, select custom section, and then over here, we want to click on the drop down and click on add block. So here we want to add a heading like that. Click in the heading. So this one could be shop by collection. Let's change it to select the text. Let's change it to heading, maybe heading 4 or maybe heading 3. And let's click on back. We want to move the title above the image. So we want to click on the custom section, drag it, and pull it up here. Then what you want to do is you want to make sure you have some space. So click on the heading, and then we can add a little bit of padding or spacing on the bottom, maybe 20, 24 pixels, like that. And then you have our heading. So once you're happy with that, we can click on save. Now I want to show you guys how you can add a video background to your Shopify website. So sometimes this is important to help separate your different products and different collections. If we take a look at Nike, they also separate their content with a video or maybe a picture. So if you scroll down over here, there is a slider image there. So they use different types of content for their homepage. Same with Louis Vuitton. As you can see, they have their collections or categories on the top. Then they have an image, collections again, another image, collections, and a video. So how do we recreate this for our website here? Let's click on back. And I want to close all of these for now. And then I want to add a new section. For this section, I'm going to drop in a banner. So this banner is going to be this one, Hero Marquee. This is going to be below here. So you can either use this as an image or a video. So click into it one time. And for the media, we can select video, click on select. Then we can upload our video, click on done. You can also play around with the layout, but I think that is okay. Maybe for the height, we can adjust it to medium. And you can link it to a specific product that you're launching or maybe a new category, whatever you need. So click on the button. And then let's say, for example, we can link it to a specific collection or a product or a page. Let's click on back over here. What I want to do with this video is I want to move this video in between the collections. So I want to separate my content a little bit. So let's drag that video up and let's move it above here like that. So we have our products, then we have our collections, then we have a video to separate our content a little bit. So we may want to add a little bit of spacing to the heading here. So I might click into here. Then I'm going to add maybe 24 pixels. And then we can click on save. One of the coolest and newest features of Shopify, and especially with this Horizon theme, is the generative AI feature. So what you can do is click on add section. So let's say, for example, you want to create something that you saw on another website, but you just didn't know how to do it. Normally, you would have to ask a professional to code that for you. But with the Shopify AI, what we can do is create a custom section, add section. Sorry, wrong one. Click on the drop down here, add block. And then on the top here, we can generate a unique block. So click on generate. And here we can describe exactly what we want. So let's say, for example, I want to display my products in a different format to something that is not currently as a section that I can add in. Then we could do maybe create a 3D floating product card to display 3 products. And then I want to horizontally align it, because sometimes when it creates it, sometimes it's in vertical format. And I think that's okay. And then we can click on generate. So it's going to take a few minutes for it to actually generate the code. All right, so as you can see, that has finished generating. And what's cool about this is that it gets pretty close to exactly what you need. And if it doesn't, you can actually refine it a little bit further. So what's cool about it is not only it tries to create the section, it also allows you to edit it further. So for example, you can select the products and add the products that you need. For example, this one. And then we can select these 3 products like this, and it's going to actually display, right? So obviously I want to probably have it in a entire row, not like 2 products there and then 1 product on the bottom, but you can actually refine that further. And as you can see, it has all these different settings here. For example, you can change the colors of it as well, and you can even hide the sales badge. So not only does it create it, but it also allows you to have even more customization within that sort of AI generated section. So let's generate another one, and you can click on back over here. So let's say, for example, we want to delete that, and we can click on add block again. And generally, once you have created and generated a block, it will be actually saved here, and you can use it anytime you need. Let's create another one. And this time we can create a before and after image slider, and then click on enter. All right, so I think we have a pretty nice before and after slider. Now, if you have entered the same prompt and you get a different result, then what you'll need to do is you can actually refine it further. So for example, sometimes the width or the height may not be high enough or it might not be wide enough. Then you can ask it to maybe allow manual adjustment of height or the width of the slider. And it's going to include maybe like something like this, where you can actually adjust the height and the width of the slider. So you can play around with the different prompts here, but let's just try it out. So before image, maybe this one here, done. After image, this one, and done. Okay, so just like that. So I think this is really good if you wanted a sort of products comparison, maybe on your product pages, or you can have it on your homepage. Here you can also adjust the different labels as well, before and after. You can change the font and the text here. The handle arrow thing, it is a little bit funny. Let's see if that is the actual one. Okay, so the arrow is actually pointing to the top rather than on the side. So you may want to refine that to ask it to actually redo the arrow. Okay, so I actually decided to refine it while recording this video. So as you can see, we have the bottom one, which I did before, and this is the refined version of it. So basically I asked it to allow manual adjustment for the height and the width of the slider, and also fix the arrow, because obviously the arrow, it looks like a PowerPoint. Not sure why it looks like that, but here we've fixed it, and as you can see, I think it looks much better. And again, you can add the images, and you can adjust the width of the slider as well as the height of the slider. So that's how cool this generative AI tool is, and I think it's only going to get better as time goes on, where you can literally create anything without code and you can do it all yourself. The next section that I want to show you guys how to create is an email opt-in section. So as you can see, we actually removed the before and after slider because I wanted to just show you guys how the generative AI tool actually works. But let's click on add a new section, and we're going to scroll down to the forms and click on the email sign up. So the email sign up section is one of the most important for an e-commerce website, because you want to collect people's emails so that you have direct access to them, not just have them follow you on social media, because you can actually lose access to your social media accounts at any time. But with emails, at least you have a direct line of contact. So later in the video, I'm actually going to show you guys how to connect it to the email marketing software as well. To actually edit this section, we can click into it and you can edit the text here. So subscribe to our newsletter for 10% off. And we can also adjust the size. And you can also click into the background here to adjust the color scheme. So later in the video, I'll show you guys how to connect it to the email marketing software. So all the contacts will be saved there, as well as set up the welcome email automations. So for example, if you're offering 10% off, a email will be automatically sent once they sign up to the email list here. And I'll also show you guys how to set up the abandoned cart and the abandoned checkout automations. So once you're happy with the email section here, we can click on save. Next, I want to show you guys how to add in your most important pages, such as your about page, your FAQ page, and any other page that you want to create. So before we can actually edit it, we need to add it in the Shopify store. So you can navigate back to your dashboard, right click and open in a new tab, and navigate back here. Then go to online store and then click on pages. So by default, the contact page should be created already. So we're going to create 2 more pages. Click on add page. And here we're going to do about us. And we're going to leave this content area empty. So you can add content here, but it's going to be a very, very basic layout. But I want to show you guys how to use the templates to create your layouts. We can set the page to be visible, and then we can click on save. Let's click on create another page, or you can navigate back and create your pages there. Click on that. Here, this one's going to be an FAQ page, and you can create as many pages as you need, but we're just going to create those 3 pages to give you an idea of how to actually set up your templates and your layouts. Once we have created those 3 pages, you should see it here and it should be visible. So now we can go back to the front of our website and we're going to refresh the page. To edit the about page template and also the FAQ, we're going to click on the drop down here and then click on pages. So here they have the different templates which are default. Then we also have a create a template button. Let's click on the default page first and let's set a default page layout. So what we're going to do is delete this section or hide this section, okay? And here we can actually create the section just like we have been creating for our homepage. Let's create a hero image and let's click on the text. And what we can do is delete that text, and then we can click on connect dynamic source. And I want to click on title. So essentially what that does is it's going to connect to the page that we have created here. So if, for example, the page title is about us, page title is FAQ, it's going to pull that data and then just insert it here for us. So we don't have to manually type any page in. So that saves us some time. And we can leave the text here, and we're going to delete the button. So let's click back over here, and then we've got the button. Let's delete that one. We can leave the text there if you want to. And let's click into the image. Then we can scroll down. Let's change the height of the image to maybe medium. I think that looks better. Then we can click on save. So now we have the default page template, and we can use that to create our pages. So let's click back over here in the middle, and then click on pages, click on create a template. So what I'm going to do is create a custom about us page. So let's type in about us, and this is going to be based on the default page, which is this template that we just created. So it's going to sort of duplicate it and copy it. Click on create template. So what you can actually do now, this is going to be linked to the about page in a few minutes. So what we can actually do is actually create a sort of about page however we want using the different sections. So what we can do is click on add section, and you can use these different sort of sections and add it in. But what we're going to do is just add maybe like a quote. So let's look for a quote. Let's edit the text. So click into it, and then let's type in a quote. Let's adjust the size a little bit. So we're going to make it a little bit smaller. And then we're also going to delete this button here. So you can delete it from here. And then we're going to create the next section. So add section. And what we're going to do is just a very, very simple layout. So we can use something like image and text. So this is very, very common. Let's use this one. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually duplicate this 2 times. So click on it, and then we can hover over it, and then we can click on duplicate. And then we can duplicate it 1 more time. Okay, so we've got 3 sections for our content. And as you can see, we want to change the sort of position of this image. I sort of want to have 1 image here, and then 1 image there, and then image here again. Click on back over here. So we're going to find the section. So I think this one is the middle one, and I want to change the image position. So click on the image and just drag it below the text. So that's going to basically move that image to the right hand side. So now what you can do is basically build out your about page. So you can add an image and add some text. Let's click into the image, click on select, upload your images, select the image that you want, click on done, and then here we can edit the text. For the button, we don't need that, so let's click on that and then just delete it. And then for the next image, we can do the same. Okay, so that's done. Let's scroll up, and you can also change the about hero image as well. Let's set in a overlay. Just boost the opacity up so to ensure the text is more visible. And once you're ready, click on save. So that's pretty much it to design a simple layout for your about page. Now the important thing is we need to connect the template with the actual page. So if we navigate back to your dashboard area, navigate back to your pages, let's click on the About Us. And then here, we're going to click on the drop down. And as you can see, it's not there yet. So what we're going to do is let's just refresh this page. And there you go. Let's click on About Us. So what it's saying is that this page here is going to be linked to the template. Click on Save. Now, if we click on the sort of pencil icon, Edit, and let's click over here and copy the URL. Let's open a new tab. As you can see, our About Us page is a very nice and custom built template. So obviously you can edit it however you want, and you can add more elements and more sections if you want to. So I think that's looking pretty good. So we can navigate back over here, and then we can create another template, which is for our FAQ page. So click on Pages and Create Template. Type in FAQ. This is going to be based on the default page that we created earlier. Create Template. You can also change the preview as well. Click on Change. Let's click on the FAQ page that we created. Click on the background and let's change our image. Click on Done. Let's add a little bit more of a overlay color. So click on Overlay Color and increase the opacity. We can click on Add Section, and we can actually scroll down to the FAQ and add this in. Then we can click into this specific section and edit the heading as well as the answer. If you click on the drop down, you can click on the text and edit the answer. So there is an issue with this one where I think it doesn't look as nice because the text goes from left to right. I sort of want to contain that in the middle a little bit, so it's a bit easier on the eye. So I'm going to go ahead and click the section and then just delete it. And previously when we have set up the template, we've actually hid the page sort of layout here. So you can actually click on the eye icon to enable that again. It's going to show above here. So what I'm going to do is delete the title and the content, and then we're going to click on the page and drag it below the hero section. This is sort of going to contain the content that we add in here. We can click on block, and then we can scroll down and look for the accordion under layout. So as you can see, it goes from left to right and doesn't go all the way across. So I think that's a lot easier on the eye. The first thing that you can do is click into the accordion, and you can change the heading preset. For example, it's a bit too small, so we can change it to maybe heading 4, or maybe let's try heading 5. I think that's better. You can also change the icon to a sort of arrow or to a plus icon, up to you. We're going to keep it as that. So you can click on back, and what you can basically do is click into the accordion and change the title, and then you can also click into the text here and change the text as the answer. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a few. If you want to duplicate the accordion, you can click into that and then just click on duplicate. I'm going to delete that. Next, you can click on add section, click on custom section, and we're going to click on the drop down here and then click on add block. So I just want to add a very simple text and button to link to our contact page. So for example, we can click on a heading, change the text to need more help. Then for the preset, I'm going to change it to heading 2. Maybe a little bit too big. Let's try heading 3. And then I'm going to try to align it in the middle. So let's click on the custom section. For the alignment, center. Then click on back. Then I'm going to add in another block. This one is just going to be a text. Let's paste this in. So I'm going to deselect the numbered list. And then we're going to click on back. And then we're going to add another block. Select the button. Let's change the label to contact us. And then we can link this to our contact page. So click on pages and then link to contact. Let's click on the section again. Let's add a little bit of padding so we can scroll down. So for the bottom, we want to add a bit of space, maybe 50 pixels. And then also on the top, we can also add just a bit as well, maybe like 20, maybe actually let's try 50. And then for the color scheme, I'm going to try a light gray. Once you're happy with that, we can click on save. So that's a very simple way to create our FAQ section. If you didn't create the custom template, then you're going to be quite limited and you can't really do an accordion. Now, the next thing that we need to do is we need to make sure we actually link the FAQ page to the FAQ template. Let's go back to our Shopify store, click on FAQ, and let's see if we can select that. Okay, it's not there yet. Let's refresh the page. Click on it again, select FAQ, and then click on Save. We can head back to the front end, and you can go to Pages, and then you can click on the contact. So this one was already pre-assigned, and you can also edit your contact page and customize it however you like. So we're just going to leave it as this. Next, I want to show you guys how to edit your product pages. So you want to click on Products and then click on Default Products. Okay, so right now we are on a product page. So what we are actually editing is the product template. So we have one product template and we're editing that. So it's going to be assigned to the 8 products which are basically connected. So I'll talk a little bit about creating templates in a minute, but right now we can edit the default template. So we can click into the product media. We can change how this is displayed. Do you want to display it in a grid or a carousel layout? For example, something like this. And you can also change the icons. So you can see the icon here. You can change it to the large one or a different one. For the pagination, we can also change it to thumbnails. So you can see the thumbnails like that on the bottom. You can also change the mobile pagination. So how it actually looks on the mobile for the pagination. You can click on the mobile to see how that displays. For example, do you want it to be dots like this, counter, or a hint? So a hint is basically where it shows a preview of the next item. I think a dot is nice. Let's click back to the desktop. And for the position of the thumbnail, you can also adjust that to be on the left or on the right-hand side. For example, on the right-hand side. And you can also adjust the size. For example, do you want to make it a little bit smaller? Maybe let's try 48 pixels. And for the aspect ratio, I normally recommend auto because as you can see, the portrait mode, it sort of extends too much and it's not proportional. This one looks a lot nicer and the image is contained. And you can also play around with the different settings here as well as the spacing. But I think that's okay like this. So on the right hand side, we can also edit that. So we can click into the text. You can edit the sort of size of the text, but we're going to leave everything as default. I think it's quite nice already. For the price, we can also edit that. So for example, we can change the size, click on custom, and maybe it's a little bit too small. Let's change it to 18 pixels. And we can scroll down here. For the accelerated checkout, I think I want to disable that so we can hide it. And you'll be able to see all the different elements on the left as well, so you can control it here. And for the policies, we're going to leave that there. This is the product description, and this is the recommended products. So you can click into that and also adjust that if you need. And if you want to add additional sort of sections to sort of talk about your product more, maybe you want to display more of the benefits and the features of the product. And what we can do is add a section. So you can build out this product page like any other page that I've showed you previously. So you can use some of the different, for example, the storytelling elements to display maybe the benefits. So let's say, for example, we want to use this one here. Then that's going to be added below. And maybe we can click on it. And then let's drag it maybe above the recommended products like that. Okay, so from there, you can edit the image and edit the text. If you want to create another section, then you can create another section and we can click on save. So that's the basics of editing the product page. Now, the issue is if you edit the product page and you add additional sections, it's going to apply for all the products in the default template. Generally, what I do recommend is creating a separate template for each of your products, or at least each of the collections. So for example, if you're selling, sunglasses, but then if you're selling different types of glasses, like maybe blue light blockers or maybe even other accessories, then you can create a separate template for each, and then you can link it to that specific template. For example, we can click on create template, and then we can create a template for sunglasses, create template. This is going to be based on the default template, which is the one that we have just created. And then you can actually just edit this. So for example, you just build it out and add any section that you want. And then what you'll need to do is you'll need to connect it. So as previously what we've done with our other pages, we need to actually navigate to our products. So click on our products here. Then for example, this product, we can click on it, scroll down, and then for the theme template, you want to adjust that. So you want to change it to whichever template that you want. For example, this one. And let's just go back here and let's just change this image so we can actually see those changes. Maybe this image here. Click on done. And let's click on save. Now let's click back on this product. Let's click on view. So for this specific product, it's going to be showing this section here, which is the template that we have edited. But if we actually navigate to the other pages or the other product pages, for example, click on this one here, then it's going to be the default one, right? So you can create an individual template per product, or you can create a template per collection. So that's pretty much it for editing your product pages. We can navigate back and close all these. In this section of the tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys how to edit the menu navigation. As you can see for the pages that we've just created, for example, your About, your FAQ, it's not listed in the navigation area. We actually have to set this in. Let's navigate back to our dashboard area, and we have our pages here, but we need to assign it to a menu. So click on content and then click on menus. Here we have the main menu. So the main menu is going to be the top one. The footer menu is the one on the bottom. So let's click into the main menu and we can adjust it. I'm going to just delete everything like this. And we can click on add menu item. So let's do about us, link it to our about us page. And we can add in a few more. So for example, shop, and we can link it to all our products. So we can click on products and select all products, add menu. Maybe we can add our FAQ page and then link it to our FAQ. And if you want to link your contact page on your top menu navigation, you can do that as well. But I'm going to save it for the footer menu for the bottom. So let's click on save and save here. If we navigate back and refresh the page, as you can see, we have our new menu items displaying on the top. One more thing that you can do is you can add a drop-down menu. For example, what I mean by that is let's add a new menu item. Let's add men's collection as a label, and we want to link it to our collections, our men's collection here. Click on save. Then we can drag this item and we can drop it below the shop page. So we can save it, and we can also add another one below the shop item. This one can be women's collection, and we can link it to the collection for women's and save. Then we can save it here. And if you hover over the shop, then you should see a drop-down menu. You can also add additional items dropping down below the men's collection. But if you want an advanced mega menu, then you probably need a third-party app, and you can find something on the App Store by navigating to the apps here and searching for mega menu. So we can click on search mega menu, And then you can check out some of these apps here, for example, this one, and you can see if it's something that you want to add in and you can use. So let's navigate back here, and I want to show you guys how to create your footer menu section as well as your social media links. Now let's edit your footer section and your footer menu. So what we're going to do is click into the menu, and here you can actually change the layout colors. But what we're going to be doing is actually creating a menu that is similar to a lot of top websites where they have several columns and they have their menu items. Same with Apple, as you can see. So this is going to link to all the pages they don't link to in the top navigation. So we're going to go back here and we're going to create this for our own website, because a lot of tutorials actually don't really show you how to do that. But we're going to be going through this step by step. Let's head back over here and we can navigate to the footer section. And what we're going to be doing right now is actually just hiding the email sign up, also hiding the divider. So there is actually a faint line there. The first thing that we want to add to the footer section is going to be a block. And what we want to do is add a group. So we're going to put the menu in this group. So we can click on add block, and then we can scroll down, look for the menu links. So here, and then we can click on back. We have one menu. Let's go ahead and just duplicate that. So click on it, and then we can duplicate it 3 times. 1, and then again, and then last one. As you can see, the menu is stacked and it's vertical. What we want to do is we want to make sure it is horizontal. Click on back over here and then select the group. And for the group, we can change the layout direction. So for the direction, instead of vertical, click on horizontal. So I think that's looking good. Then what we can do is for the group, we can also add a little bit of padding. So there is not much space on the top, so we can try to adjust that a little bit. Let's try 20, maybe 24. The next thing we want to do is select the menus that we want to display in the footer section. Let's click into the menu. So here we can select the menu, click here and click on replace. And here we can select the footer menu. The reason why it's not displaying the footer menu is because we haven't set anything in the back end yet. So let's go ahead and save first, and then head back to our back end, our dashboard area, navigate to content, menus, and here we have our footer menu. So we're going to click into the footer menu, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a few menu items that we want to display in the footer section. We're going to delete this one, and then we can click on add menu item. So we can start with our pages, for example, our About Us page, and we can link it to our pages. So I'm going to quickly set this in and make sure we save that and click on save here. If we go back to our home page and if we refresh the page, then it should pull the menu from the menu that we set in before. Scroll down to the bottom. So as you can see, the menu has been set, but these ones haven't been set. So you can head back here and we can duplicate this menu, and we can just name it maybe footer menu 2, duplicate. So what we're going to do is just maybe delete these pages here. And then we can add in the rest of our pages. Once you've added in your menus, then it should look like this. So footer menu 1, footer menu 2, 3, and 4. Head back to your home page. And here, all we need to do is we can just set it in. For example, click into it and then replace. Find the menu that you want to display, footer menu 2. Change this to footer menu 3. And then footer menu 4. Let's click back over here. Then we can re-enable the email sign up. And we can click the group and drag it above. And maybe let's adjust the spacing of that a little bit. Click on the footer and I'm going to adjust the top padding, maybe have it as 48 as well. And let's adjust the group here. I think the padding is a little bit too much, so let's just remove that actually. Then for the social media links, we can scroll down, and here we can enable that. Click into the drop down, and then for each of these links, we can click into it to paste in your Facebook profile URL, as well as the rest of these. So I think that's pretty much it for your footer. Once you're happy with it, we can click on save. We have completed most of the front end editing. Now let's take a look at the back end settings. Navigate to online store, then click on preferences. If your store access is still restricted for the public visibility, you can disable it and make sure that is enabled so people can view your store. For the social sharing and SEO, here you can add an image to basically display when people share your website on social media. I think this is important, so we can add an image. For the homepage title, this is going to display on the search engines, so you want to make sure you put in the name of your website as well as something related that describes what you are selling, and then also enter in a meta description. Then we can scroll down. For the automatic redirection, you want to make sure you enable this. Essentially what it does is if someone from a different country visits, it's going to show their currency. And for the language, if the visitor's browser is different and you have that language added on your website, it's going to choose that language and display that. So select that. For the rest, we can keep as default. Let's save. Next, we're going to edit our settings. Click on settings. In the general tab, you want to make sure your store details are correct. You can also set in your store defaults. So for the unit system, make sure it's the one that you commonly use in your country. Set in your time zone. For the rest of these, we can keep as default and make sure you save. The next thing that we can do is you can navigate to payments. To accept payments on your website, you can complete the account setup with Shopify payments. It's going to allow you to accept credit cards on your website. You can click on complete account setup and submit your information about your business. So even if you're operating as an individual, you can still submit your details. You'll also need to add your banking information. So for example, once the sort of money is collected from your customers, it will be later deposited back into your bank. So you can enter your bank information there. I also recommend adding PayPal as an additional payment method. So if you have an account already, you can connect it, or you can create an account and connect it. Next, we can click on the checkout to customize the checkout. This is where you can edit the checkout fields when people check out. So generally, I do require first and last name. Company name, I normally set to optional. For the shipping address phone number, I normally set it as required because especially if you're selling internationally, you will need their phone numbers. And for the marketing options, I normally enable it. So this basically will enable a sort of checkbox in the checkout section, and people can select it to sign up to your email list. You can scroll down and check out if there's anything else that you would like to edit. If it's okay, then make sure to save. Let's navigate to the next section, which is the taxes and duties. If you want to collect taxes and duties for a specific country, you can click into it and enable it. And then we can scroll down, click on policies. So let's click into these ones and set these in. We're going to click on that. We can also use the template. So make sure to read the template and see what applies to you. And then you can also set in your returns address. And then once you're ready, click on publish. Terms of service, we can click into that. As well, we can insert the template. Make sure you read all the information as well as adding in your details here. Click on publish. Shipping policy. So your shipping policy, you'll need to enter in that yourself. You can simply generate one on ChatGPT and then you can see what applies to you and save that in. And same thing with the contact information. You can insert the template and then click on publish. So these are just the basic settings. You can also navigate to each individual one and take a look yourself. But right now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the shipping and delivery. We can click into here, the general shipping rates, and we can scroll down. Generally, Shopify would have populated with your domestic shipping zone. As you can see, this is what they have populated with. We have the standard shipping, standard with the free shipping over $100, and express shipping. To edit this, you can click into it and click on edit. And then here you can change the price. You can also add conditions. So if you want to set in the condition where it's over $100, you get free shipping, you can do that here and then click on done. You can also add additional rates. So you can click on add rate. So let's say, for example, you want to use a custom rate. So then we would select custom, set in the name. Let's say, for example, DHL Express. And then here you can add maybe tracking number provided or ships next day, or you can have maybe the time for delivery. So maybe let's just say 1 to 2 business days. And then you can set the price and then click on done. So that's how you set in the shipping zones if you are shipping just domestically, and that's fairly simple. But what I want to show you is how you can actually set up shipping internationally as well as set up your markets. In this section of the tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to set up international shipping. So before we can actually set up the international shipping rates, people won't be able to check out unless we include them in a market. So for example, if we've set in the shipping to be $20 here, then once people try to check out, they won't be able to select their countries. So let's go back over here. And what we need to do is to click on include them in a market. So what we can do is you can also navigate to markets on the left in your dashboard area. You can create an international market. And this is going to pre-populate with 27 countries. You can also add more by clicking on the pencil icon. And for the currency, generally it should be the local currencies. And we can leave these as default for now and then click on save. So that's going to create a new international market. So I think this is great for beginners to get started with. Now, if you want a little bit more control when it comes to like the catalog, the domain, and the languages, taxes, and duties, then later you would need to come back to the markets and sort of create an individual market per region or per country. I'll talk a little bit about that later when we talk about the catalogs. So once you've set in the international market, you can head back to settings and shipping and then click on here. Scroll down. So for these 27 countries, it's going to show standard international, and it's also going to show 6 to 27 business days with a $20 fee. Normally, I don't like this, and I also don't recommend it because we have countries from all over the world. Therefore, when you're shipping to these countries, the sort of time frame for the package to arrive is going to be a lot different, as well as the price is going to be different. So you do want to charge different prices per country, or at least per region. And you also want to update the shipping times to be a little bit more accurate, because 6 to 27 business days is probably going to scare a lot of people away. So we're going to go ahead and just delete the entire zone and create one from start. Save. So to add a new shipping zone, we can click on add shipping zone. And I'm going to start off with USA. And here we're going to search for United States. And then we can select the country and then click on done. Then we can click on add rate. For the rate type, we can keep it as flat rate. For the shipping rate, we're going to set it to custom. And we can type in, for example, standard international. And here we can include maybe the shipping time. So maybe 6 to 10 business days. I also like to add EST at the front. So give them an estimated time. Sometimes if it goes over 10 business days, then they contact you. I like to write estimated, and we can set in the price and then click on done. So you can go ahead and create another one, custom, maybe express, international, and then set in the time again, 4 to 6 business days, and then set in the price and then click on done. Then you can also create a free shipping one. but that's the basics of adding in a zone and then setting in the price. So for each of the countries that you want to ship to, you want to create a new shipping zone with the different shipping rates for your country. So once you're ready, we can click on save, and that's how you set up international shipping. So once people check out, then they'll be able to select the United States and they can purchase and you can ship there as well. So we can head back over here and let's click on close, and let's navigate to markets again and then click on catalogs. So when you would use catalogs is if you want to customize the price as well as customize which products you offer per region or per country. In Shopify, it's defined by the markets. You can do that. So let's say, for example, I'm going to create a new catalog and I'm going to label this as USA. Let's say I'm an Australian company and I want to sell to United States, but some of my products are too heavy and maybe some of our products don't meet the regulations. Then I want to create a catalog. So we're going to make sure we select the region, okay? But we don't have that region in here yet. So let's go ahead and create that. Go to markets. Let's click on discard. Go to markets. And I'm going to go to international. Click on the pencil icon. I'm going to remove United States first from this international market. And then I want to create a completely new market. Click on markets, create market. And this one's just going to be USA. This one, we're going to select our country like this. Click on done. And then click on save. Then let's go back to catalogs, create. Let's name this and select the market. Click on done. Then you want to make sure you save first. And here we can scroll down to our products and then click on all. As you can see, all our products are included in the market, but let's just say, for example, these two items. I don't want to ship to the United States, it's just too heavy. Then I can select it and exclude from the catalog, exclude the products. Another thing that you can do is you can hard code the prices in. So as you can see, the price for United States market is like $133.39. It doesn't look very nice on the eye. So you can actually set a specific price for that market. And sometimes you might even want to maybe lower or increase the price for a specific market. For example, I'm selling to Singapore and a lot of people are selling similar products. Then maybe I want to decrease my price a little bit to be a little bit more competitive. So that's why creating a market for each region or each country is so beneficial, because it allows you to really control what you display and the prices. So let's say, for example, instead of 1399, we can do maybe 129. This one, we can edit that, 129. So I've set in these prices and then we can click on save. Now, if we head back to our store, we can navigate to the shop page where we display all the products, and you can select United States here on the top. And then we can scroll down, and as you can see, the prices have been updated and 2 products have disappeared. So basically 2 products aren't included in the United States market. If we select back to the Australian market, then you're going to see all 8 products displaying. So that's the power of the catalogs and the markets section here. Another thing that I want to show you quickly is you can go to settings and you can add specific languages for your website. Click on languages, click on add language, and we can select the language that we want. For example, French. Click on next, keep everything as default, click on done. We're going to scroll down and then click on translate. Click on translate and adapt. And I'm going to use the auto translate feature to translate each and every part of my website. So this is going to take a few minutes. All right, so it's finished translating to French. You can actually click into the specific sections to check the translation If it's incorrect, you can manually update it and then you can save it. But we're going to leave everything as is. Let's click back and then you want to publish it. So we can click on manage, click on the three dots and publish. Then we can also assign to domain. So if you have a different sort of subfolder, then you can actually select it. But right now we just have one domain. We're going to activate it for the whole entire domain. Click on done. So now that's published. If we navigate to our website, then in the drop down, your customers can select the language here. Now, if you want to automatically redirect them to the specific language, you are probably going to need a third-party app to do that. So for example, a pop-up might appear and they can select the region that they want to shop at. But generally, if let's say someone from France is shopping on your website, it's going to automatically change the currency to euro, but the language will be default to English. So they can still select it here. If you want the automatic language switcher, then you'll need to use a third-party app for that. In this section of the tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how you can fulfill your orders. So the first thing you probably need to do is you can head back to your shipping and delivery section. And for your shipping labels section, normally they will have some carriers which they've partnered with. It depends on which country you're based in. So in Australia, they have partnered up with Sendle and they offer a few different services, domestic, the international as well, but they don't offer some other services like express shipping. But I think it's great for beginners to just get started with, and you can use the default senders and just make sure you save and select it. So once you have actually selected it, you can go back to your orders here. You can click into your order and you can click on create shipping label. So a shipping label is basically just a label that you stick onto your package with the address of your customer, and you can drop off the package or you can schedule a pickup for your parcel. So you can enter in the weight of your product, like the total weight, as well as the weight of your package. And it's going to be mainly calculated on the weight as well as the dimensions. So try to keep it as small as you can. And you can scroll down, you can select the shipping service, and then you can either select a schedule pickup or drop off your parcel. Then what you can do is you can set in the shipping date. So for example, let's set it tomorrow. And then we can click on buy shipping label. Okay, so as you can see, it's just verifying our account now and we can't actually purchase at the moment. But what you basically do is you buy it and then you can print off the label, stick on the package and either drop it off or have it picked up. And once you're done with that, you can click on your orders. You can click into it or you can also select it like that. And then you can mark as fulfilled. So then basically a notification will be sent to your customer with the tracking number. So for example, this will be the email they'll be sent and the tracking number will be included here so that they're able to track their orders. So that's basically it for the fulfillment of your orders. I do want to explain quickly about how we personally set it up without the partner carriers, because I think that it does have some limitations. For example, it can't ship to PO boxes. They don't have an express option. International is also very expensive, and the shipping time that they state is longer and less accurate. I want to talk a little bit about the fulfillment process for our own Shopify stores, because I think overall it's going to be cheaper, it's better, and it also offers faster shipping times compared to the default carrier installed with Shopify, because what we're going to be doing is basically setting it up ourselves. So I just wanted to walk you through exactly how it works so you guys have an idea of what you need to do once you start getting a few orders, because not many videos actually touch on this subject at all. So step number one, you want to research your local shipping carriers in your country, and you want to check the pricing, the shipping times, and then sign up for a business account. So normally when you sign up for a business account, you'll get a business manager. They'll ask you some details about your shipments, for example, the weight and the dimensions of the shipments, as well as what you're shipping and your estimated monthly shipping volume. And they will basically give you specific rates based on that information. So the next thing you need to do is you can sign up to shipping softwares. For example, ShipStation, Shippo, Starship. I'm personally using just the Australia Post My Post business one, which is on Shopify by Seller Dash. But you can see which company that you're comfortable with, which one is most popular in your country, and you sign up to that software. Normally, you'll pay a monthly fee for that. Then you'll need to download the app on the Shopify App Store. And basically, you can connect it to the shipping carrier using an API. And that's going to have your custom rates attached to that API. Once everything is connected, the orders on your Shopify store are going to be synced and imported into the shipping software. And that is basically where you add the weight, the dimensions, and then you can select which shipping service that you would want. For example, you can select standard shipping, express shipping, standard with signature, and you can also connect it to not only just one shipping carrier, but you can also connect it. For example, you can have Ozpost or DHL and other shipping carriers. After you've entered the information and selected the shipping service, you can pay for the labels and print it off. Then you can use a normal printer or a thermal printer. If you're just printing out normally, you can use a mailing pouch to stick it on. Then you can drop it off at the post office or a specific drop-off point. And depending on how many orders you're getting every day, you can also schedule people to pick up your orders. Okay, so hopefully that has given you a clearer picture on how to set it up if you didn't want to use the default option in Shopify. There is something else that is very important that you'll need to do. If we click on our online store and open it up, you're going to notice that it's showing this very, very weird domain and myshopify.com. So what you'll need to do is to purchase your own domain name, for example, studio.com, or it could be yourbrandname.com. Head back to your dashboard, then click on settings. Then from here, navigate to domains. So this is where you can actually purchase your own domain name within Shopify. From here, we can click on buy new domain. If you have an existing domain and you want to connect it, you can click here, click on buy new domain. And from here, we can search for our domain name, for example, studio.com. So you can see if that is available. If it is, you can purchase it. And after you purchase it, it's going to automatically connect to your Shopify website. And then normally within a few hours, it will be redirected to your domain that you purchased instead of the default Shopify domain. And then you'll be pretty much set up with your website, except for one last thing, and that's going to be actually your emails. So previously I showed you guys how to add the email opt-in on your page. Now we need to set it up with the email marketing software. So when people submit their email, it's actually collected and you'll be able to automatically send people a 10% off coupon code. You can also set up your abandoned cart and abandoned checkout automations. And I'm going to show you guys how to set it up in just a few minutes. And to get started, it's completely free. To get started with your email marketing, you can click on the second link in the description below, or you can navigate to hoganchua.com/Omnisend. That's going to take you to my referral page where you're able to get started for free. But if you do decide to upgrade to their paid plans, you're going to get a 30% off for the first 3 months. To get started, we can click on Start Now or Start Free on the top. Next, I'm going to click on Sign Up with Google. We're going to log into our Google account. You can also sign up using your email or your Shopify account. Set in your password. Select e-commerce. Check the terms of service. Click on Sign Up. Enter in your store name. Enter in your current store website. Select your platform. In this case, it's going to be Shopify. Select the email marketing software that you're currently using. If you're not using any, select Other, and then click on Continue. Set in your business address. This can be also your home address. And then click on Continue to Omnisend. The next thing we need to do is connect it with your Shopify website. Click on this button here. Make sure you are logged in to your Shopify account. And then click on Install. Click on Install. This is going to install the app on your Shopify store. Add your logo. And then click on Upload. select it. And here we can select our colors for our brand. And you can also add in your social media links here and then click on Save Brand Assets. So we're going to click on I'll explore on my own. Okay, congratulations, everything is set up. Now, if we click on Audience, once your visitors subscribe to your email list, your audience will be in your contact section here. So first, what we're going to do is actually launch a sign-up form. We can click into that. This is going to allow you to have a pop-up form on your website. So once you actually enable this form, it's automatically going to be active. So we can click on Enable Form. You can also edit the form with the different items here. You can also change the colors. So let's say, for example, you want to match the color scheme. You can click on the button settings, primary button. We can change the button to maybe a red, which is more similar to our website. And if we're happy with that, then we can just enable the form. So that is actually a pop-up form enabled on your website. As you can see, the pop-up is already active. And when your customers enter in the email, it will be collected into Omnisend. We need to click back over here and we will need to set up a welcome email. So we can click on Create Welcome Workflow and we can select what discount we would like to include in our welcome email. In this case, on our website, it is 10%. We can select that and then click Start Workflow. So that is already set up. So once your customers enter in the email, whether from this form here or from this form, they will get a welcome email with a 10% coupon. If we click into the automation and we click into the welcome email, you can click into their email here and scroll down. And because it's connected with Shopify, it's going to automatically generate that coupon code. And you can also click on Edit Content to edit the content on the email. You can add some photos. You can change the color scheme. I actually got a full tutorial on my channel that you can actually check out. I'll leave the link in the description. I just want to show you guys how you guys can get started really, really quickly. Click on Finish Editing. So let's navigate back to the dashboard area. You can click on the drop down, click on Goals. Then we can also set up the abandoned cart and the abandoned checkout email flow. Let's click on Set Up Recovery Email. And we can set in a discount code for our emails. So let's say, for example, I want to set it to maybe 15%. Click on Start Workflows. Let's click on that and continue. So as you can see, we've set up a pop-up. We've also set up the welcome email. We've also set up the abandoned cart and the abandoned checkout. So let me explain exactly what that means for the abandoned cart. Let's say, for example, someone adds this product to the cart and they don't check out. Then they'll be sent an email to encourage them to purchase. If we go back to Omnisend, click on Automation, you can click into each of these automations to see the email flow. So essentially this is the rules. This is going to be the email that they're going to be sent. You can also set how long before the next email sends. And then after 2 emails, this is the 3rd email, they will get a coupon for 15% off. Then you've also got another automation, which is the abandoned checkout. So this is basically if people get to the actual checkout and they enter in their information, but maybe they're busy or maybe they are just thinking and they don't want to purchase, then they'll also be sent a automated email from Omnisend. So I just wanted to quickly jump into my Omnisend account for one of my Shopify stores. And as you can see, for the last 30 days, 30% of the revenue came from Omnisend. So that's largely from the welcome email automations, as well as the abandoned checkout and the abandoned cart automations. So over the last 90 days, it is also around 31% or around 33,000. So compared to other marketing channels, I think it is highly, highly profitable, and it's also super easy to set up on your end. So I highly recommend you guys set up the email marketing automations for your Shopify store because it's really not hard to do and really beneficial. Now, this concludes the Shopify tutorial. Hopefully you guys have found it useful. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you have any comments, you can leave it in the comment section below. Thank you and see you guys in the next video.